Hi guys, I'm Adam Wilborn from WhatCulture.
And I'm Andy Murray from WhatCulture. And remember, be cool, help the school.
And this is the news.
So, in a story that definitely isn't a work and definitely is happening, the New Day are leaving WWE.
What?
Yeah, mind blown. So, they're not. They're obviously not, before the comment section gets too spicy and stuff. But basically, Xavier Woods and Big E have been going in on this angle that they've got going on at the moment. They've been using social media to its fullest, and both of them posted some pretty interesting videos to Twitter yesterday. So, quote from Big E, he was talking about what happened on SmackDown with Kofi getting screwed at the end of the Gauntlet match. He posted like a 2-minute diatribe, but the most interesting phrase revolves around people like us never being able to move forward. So that's an interesting one. Xavier Woods then followed up with a slightly longer one in which he talked about having other things he wanted to do in his life, talking about video games. He's obviously got Up, Down, Down and all his outside projects on the go, and he thanked Vince McMahon for opportunities and so forth, and then kind of spoke like he was leaving. So, I mean, they're not leaving. We're not being worked here. You guys might be, but we're not. We're smart. You guys are smart too. Don't know why I said that. What do you reckon of this?
Vince McMahon doesn't care about black people. No, of course not. That is the storyline they are going with. I think it is very intriguing. I'm really excited to see how they follow up on SmackDown. Look, we all know what they're doing here. We've seen them do it a million times before. But I sense, not only with the New Day, but with the stuff that Miz said on SmackDown and with all the supporters we saw backstage and in promos for Kofi's push for a WWE Championship match, there's going to be a big fallout on SmackDown next week. And this is just adding to the storyline, as they do in modern day WWE with social media as well. Yeah,
these guys are really, really good and really smart when it comes to using social media to its fullest capabilities to sell storylines. I think people are so used to them being out of character on social media, certain characters, that when stuff like this happens, it's almost hard to tell the difference. But like, look, the New Day are definitely not leaving. They're huge merch shifters. They're immensely popular. They probably make great money. They're probably very happy.
One of the best modern day tag teams.
Absolutely. Probably the second best modern stable after the Shield. Like, they're really good. And this is a great storyline.
The only thing I would say, and I realised what I said a second ago to completely contradict this, but I would be careful bringing race into this. In terms of the fact that there was talk yesterday on WWE's Instagram of people accusing WWE and Vince of being racist. You know, we've had stuff in the past, obviously. Someone like you doesn't get to be world champion with Booker T. The hints there from Big E. I would rather it just be he's not pushing Kofi because he doesn't believe he's a star, rather than anything to do with race, but it's WWE. So
they have to be very careful with the verbiage of this. We've already heard certain amounts of backlash. It's quite below the radar at the moment. It's only like a small sect of people that are bringing these things up in comment sections and online and stuff. But they do have to be very careful. It's WWE. They have the subtlety of a breeze block to the mouth. They are not good at all with such topics. So let's hope that they keep it strictly professional heading into WrestleMania, and that we don't get tied up into something altogether more problematic. I know the comment section love that word.
Damn you, Vince.
So
right, moving on. WWE are set to leave their beloved home, Titan Towers. They are going to be moving out by probably around 2021, so no time soon. But they are moving to somewhere new, and this is sort of part of their ongoing development. That's a real shame, because it's a classic staple of WWE.
Symbol of the company, isn't it? This big glass building. So they released a statement confirming this yesterday. George Barrios had some quotes, but he's the world's most boring man, so we won't read any of those.
George Barrios? George Boreas, more like.
Oh, hey! Banner. They're going to be leaving by 2021. They have a new site already earmarked. They're also going to be considering a number of other leases across Stamford, Connecticut, which is where they're based. So, they've been based in this building for 34 years. It has, of course, played host to all manner of fun TV angles. We've seen Brock Lesnar run in and destroy Triple H's office. We've seen Triple H and Shawn Michaels, those mad dad lads, spraying everything green. Banner. And, of course, the classic 1999 Super Bowl ads that we parodied on this channel, of course. So it's going to be kind of a shame to see it go, but I mean, it's clearly a business decision. Like, the building obviously perhaps isn't as fit for purpose as it used to be. They're moving on to something new. Yeah, I mean, it'll be cool to see them return with one last TV angle. Maybe like I don't know, Viscera's dead.
Gangrel.
He can't show up. Gangrel shows up and eats the catering.
I don't know. With 2 years left in there, there's definitely scope to do something one last time at that iconic building, certainly.
Yeah, absolutely. So, news story. We've got another story. That's funny, that, because it's the news. That's your catchphrase, isn't it? Cody Rhodes, he's been filing even more trademarks. So, news broke last week that Cody had filed trademarks for the American Nightmare, which is of course his nickname, the American Dream, which was his dad's nickname, and Dusty Rhodes, which was his dad's character. He's also filed a number of other trademarks according to PW Insider. These are the Prince of Wrestling, which is quite an interesting one, Battle Bowl, Bunkhouse Stampede, and Bash at the Beach. Now, a number of these are obviously old WCW properties. This led to immediate speculation that AEW might use them for shows. Now, Cody has shot that down on Twitter. He said, look, turn the notifications off. I'm basically just looking to take my dad's old cattle home. So basically, he just wants to bring some stuff that his father came up with back into the family fold. But do you believe him?
I was going to say, I'd say that too if I was about to relaunch WCW pay-per-views. I'm inclined to believe him, but on the other hand, I can see why he would say that to get people off his case, and it would make a lot of sense. Like if someone said, are you going to watch the new AEW show? And you're like, what is it? It's Bash at the Beach. Probably for the more casual fans or the classic fans who've...
Your dad.
Yeah, exactly. Are going to be more inclined to watch it, I think.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. That could be a potential selling point for lapsed fans from back in the day. However, there's also, WCW is WCW. It's a poison brand. Cody's obviously very proud of his heritage, and that's great. But you can't rehabilitate WCW. The way it ended, all the creative missteps, the business missteps, I don't know if AEW want too many of those illusions, so it'll be really interesting to see how it pans out. But right now, I think the safest thing to do is probably just to take Cody's tweets at face value.
Whether or not it's AEW or WWE, someone bring back Halloween Havoc with the giant pumpkin, please.
Please.
Right, let's move on to some quick-fire news stories. Starting off with a report from Shagger Dave Meltzer in the Wrestling Observer, saying basically that WrestleMania is no longer the highest earning pay-per-view that WWE puts on. That honor is now bestowed, of course, on the Saudi Arabia shows, who have a guaranteed amount of money before you even put on the show.
Yeah, I mean, interesting stuff. I guess no great surprise here. There's a guaranteed downside on those Saudi Arabian shows. They make insane money. The question now is, do these Saudi Arabian shows eventually become WWE's storytelling priority, or do they remain the glorified house shows that they've essentially been? That's diminishing returns is gonna kick in with that at some point. There's gonna be a point where people just Saudi Arabian audiences aren't just content to see Matt Hardy and John Cena and all these guys. It'll be interesting to see how things pan out.
Very quickly, my worry with that is if they do start doing storylines in there, not to have a go, but the Saudi Arabia audience are going to pop for whoever's there.
Yeah, Gangrel.
Whereas you've got this definite heel face dynamics, as he tries to say. As long as you're not in somewhere like Bizarro World, it's very obvious to the audience. Sometimes you'll get, if Triple H, for example, was playing a heel, he'd get a huge cheer just because it's Triple H. That's the danger. But yeah, it makes a lot of sense that they're making the most money.
The most kashish. So, next story is revolving around Rey Mysterio and Andrade. Remember they were feuding? So Shagger Dave reckons that the original plans was for those two to face at WrestleMania. Now, at WrestleMania, we have Rey Mysterio challenging for the United States Championship. There's not really a lot to this, but I think a lot of fans had their hopes up about Rey versus Andrade. It was in the plan up until like a couple of weeks ago, but Vince McMahon, as he's prone to doing, changed his goddamn mind. And now, Lord knows if we'll ever get that.
Just make it a four-way. Make it a four-way with
Yeah.
the four guys we've been watching wrestle week after week and put on absolute classics. I would say just chuck Andrade in, but then that's another triple threat, and I keep saying you're going to water down the impact of that main event with the three women, of course. So make it a fatal four-way. Chuck R-Truth in there because he deserves it, and still you can have Dominic getting choked out by Samoa Joe.
Yeah.
Finally then, an AEW signing to update you on. Sadie Gibbs. I was going to say Mills.
Gibbs.
Good. Sadie Gibbs has been signed by AEW. They they are scooping up talent left and right.
They really are, and this is one hell of a signing. Sadie Gibbs, relatively new to the wrestling scene in general. However, she has collected an immense amount of hype in 2019. Her gifs are all over social media. Even if you're not particularly familiar with her work, there's a strong chance you have seen a gif of her doing a Sasuke special, which is like a flip somersault thing in the ring and then over the top to the outside.
I know what you mean now.
She is immensely talented, immensely promising, former CrossFit competitor, immensely agile, fast, strong. She's going to be a big, big star, and this is a hell of a pickup for AEW.
Right, let's move on to your Twitter questions today, at WhatCulture WWE, if you want to ask them to us, of course. First question comes from Jason Hampson, who says, if King of the Ring was brought back and Queen of the Ring was introduced, who would be your King and Queen?
Oh, wow. If we're going to use this as like a traditional, old school, make a star type format rather than let's give it to an upper mid-carder and have them fanning around with a crown for a bit, Andrade, for me, would be the king. I think you could do some great stuff with him and Zelina Vega bragging about it afterwards, and, you know, he's great and stuff. Queen, interesting one.
I can make a rule here, we're not allowed to pick Charlotte.
All right, no
because
Charlotte,
that's what we were going to say.
I'm going to go for Sonya Deville, man. I think she's really promising. So, yeah.
I'll go for Queen. I mean, Asuka needs as much help as you can possibly get at the moment.
Yeah.
But she is champion. So, yeah, I'll go Queen... Mandy Rose, just to wind them up, and
Fair.
King Ricochet. I'm going to go with.
Of course, perfect.
But don't give him a crown and a weird thing and a cape. No cape.
Scepter.
Next question comes from Luis. Luis says, do you think Ronda will have her husband in her corner and Charlotte will bring Rick?
Oh.
And Becky will have to beat the odds against the outside interference, or possibly have Stone Cold Steve Austin in her corner at WrestleMania?
I really hope not. I think the more bells and whistles you add to this match, the less interesting it gets. Now look, it's going to be a great match. It's my most anticipated match on the card. I think it's going to be brilliant. I think it's going to close the show and we're all going to be very happy. But you don't need any more gimmicks. You don't need Travis Browne. You don't need Ric Flair. You don't need Steve Austin. Straight up, three-way wrestling match between the three best women in the company. That's all you need. You don't need the bells and whistles, and I don't think it'll happen either.
You're going to get a special guest referee though, aren't you? They're beating the referees left and right. Please don't make it Steph. Yeah. No one wants it to be Steph.
It's going to be Steph. Good.
Almost swore then. Angela Dawn with our final question of today, which is kind of interesting considering the state that WWE is in with their call-ups. Angela says, why does WWE bring certain NXT superstars to the main roster if all they're going to do is have them strut down the ramp like a runway model, be called a human tanning bed, lead a conga line, and scream while behind an open cage door?
It's Vince McMahon, isn't it? He's mental. So the talk with this latest batch of call-ups was that Vince felt there wasn't enough star power, blah, 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 so he brought up Ricochet, Gargano, all these guys. The previous call-ups, the ones that you're referring to there, the Heavy Machineries and the Lacey Evans, apparently that was at the end of the year when they acknowledged on air that everything was crap and needed to shake things up. So they basically got this short-term goal of shaking things up, and then they get hold of these things and they have no idea what to do with them. It's almost like there was no planning whatsoever put into these things. Like Vince has knee-jerked. He has said to Hunter, give me some of your guys. He's given him some of his guys. And when he gets them, he's realized that, like, with all due respect, like, they're not the most spectacular wrestlers in the world, the EC3s and the Heavy Machineries. And he doesn't know what to do with them.
It's not even like he's given him some of his guys, because he's given him some of his best guys in the likes of Ricochet and Aleister Black and what have you. I think with the other one, it's been suggested by loads of guys in the office prior to me saying it here, is Vince looked at an NXT catalogue and went, the blonde one, the funny one, the big one, the tanned one.
Yeah, I mean, that sounds about right. They all fit that archetype.
Because he clearly has no investment in what their character is or what they should be doing, because he's just had personalities just chucked up on the screen and then not knowing what to do with them. Yeah. Right, let's move on to today's and finally, and a lot of speculation is going around, of course, at the moment, with the Undertaker and WrestleMania, and I'm not sure if he's going to make it. You see, he posted, well, he didn't actually, his other half, Michelle McCool, posted this photo on Instagram just yesterday, and he's rather busy at the moment because he's been hit with a draw 10. I love finding out weird little things about The Undertaker, like on his private jet, him and Michelle McCool love to sit around and have a little game of Uno.
Yeah, this modern behind the scenes Undertaker is something else, isn't it? Can't wait to see him playing tiddlywinks in his back garden next week.
A draw 10, he's just murked. So I can't make WrestleMania, I've got to pick up all these Uno cards. I do apologise.
Sorry, Chief.
Let us know your thoughts on that and all of today's news stories in the comment section below. And don't forget to like, share and subscribe. And you can send us Twitter questions at WhatCulture WWE on Twitter. You can even follow both of us on Twitter. Watch it there. You can follow him at
Andy H. Murray.
You can follow me at Adam Wilborn. As I said, you can follow us all at WhatCulture WWE. And make sure you subscribe to What Culture Wrestling on iTunes or Spotify for daily wrestling podcasts. My thanks to Andy Murray. Thank you for watching, and we will see you soon.
Bye.